The year 2001 holds a special place in the long-running story of the Jefferson Nickel, a coin that has been part of American life since 1938. For more than 6 decades, the design created by Felix Schlag had remained a familiar symbol of the nation, showing the portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic home Monticello on the reverse. By the time the 2001 issue was released, the Jefferson Nickel had already passed through several generations of collectors and everyday users, becoming one of the longest continuing designs in U.S. coinage history. In 2001, the United States Mint continued the classic Jefferson and Monticello design before the major redesigns that would begin only a few years later. The coin of this year represents the final calm before the great transformation that would arrive with the Westward Journey nickel series starting in 2004. Because of this, the 2001 issue is often seen as a bridge between tradition and change. A coin that still held the timeless design Americans had known for over 60 years, while standing just steps away from a new era in numismatic history. The production of the 2001 Jefferson Nickel took place at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, both of which were operating at high capacity at the start of the new millennium. The demand for circulating coinage remained strong as the economy continued to grow and daily cash transactions were still the norm, although digital payments, where increasing coins like the nickel were still essential in everyday commerce. This made the Jefferson Nickel not just a collectible item, but also an important tool in the hands of the American public. The design of the 2001 nickel is a continuation of Schlag's original concept, which had gone through only minor adjustments over the decades. Jefferson's profile appears with sharp detail, clean lines, and a stately appearance that reflects his influence on American democracy. The word liberty is written in Jefferson's own handwriting style, and the date 2001 marks its place in the modern era. On the reverse, Monticello stands proudly, a reminder of Jefferson's architectural vision and his legacy as one of the nation's founding fathers. For collectors, the 2001 Jefferson Nickel represents a modern issue that still carries historical value. While it is generally common due to high mintage numbers, certain pieces with exceptional strikes, steps, or preservation can stand out. The full steps designation especially earns attention among numismatists, as it indicates a sharply struck coin with distinct detail on Monticello's steps. Such examples remain prized even in more recent years, adding depth to the appeal of the 2001 series. The year 2001 also sits at the edge of a technological shift as coin production quality continued to improve through modern minting machinery. These advancements allowed for more consistent striking and fewer flaws, compared to earlier decades, making it easier for collectors to find well-preserved examples. Yet at the same time, it marked one of the final years before the Mint would experiment heavily with new designs, themes, and artistic directions, transforming the identity of the nickel for a new generation. In a broader historical sense, the 2001 Jefferson Nickel is a reminder of American stability, heritage, and tradition. It carries a design rooted in the past at a moment when the country was entering a rapidly changing world. From the oldest collectors who had followed the nickel through decades of circulation to younger enthusiasts who were just discovering the world of U.S. coinage, the 2001 issue served as a link between eras, preserving the familiar while standing on the threshold of transformation. As the early years of the 21st century unfolded, the standard Jefferson and Monticello design was approaching its final chapter. Only 3 more years would pass before the Mint unveiled a series that celebrated the Lewis and Clark expedition, dramatically reshaping the nickel's appearance. Because of this, the 2001 release feels like a moment frozen in time, capturing the last phase of a long and meaningful design tradition. Today, the Jefferson Nickel of 2001 continues to be collected, admired, and studied by numismatists. It represents the heritage of American coin design, the craftsmanship of the Mint, and the continuity of one of the nation's most enduring coinage series. For a YouTube documentary, this coin's story provides a rich narrative stretching from its New Deal origins to its role at the dawn of the new millennium, making it a fascinating and meaningful chapter in the history of U.S. currency. As the Jefferson nickel entered the year 2001, it carried with it more than 6 decades of heritage, a legacy that began during the Great Depression and continued steadily into the 21st century. By this time, the coin had seen major events in American history wars, economic cycles, cultural shifts, and technological revolutions, yet its design remained anchored in the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson and the stately depiction of Monticello. This continuity itself became a historical marker, showing how deeply Americans valued the symbols and ideas represented by the third President of the United States. In 2001, the mint was operating in a vastly different world compared to the one in which the Jefferson nickel first emerged. The original 1938 design was the result of a national competition that sought a new artistic direction for the nickel, replacing the buffalo nickel that had circulated for 25 years. By contrast, the early 2000s were driven by precision technology, automated minting processes, and advanced quality control systems. Yet even with all these advancements, the Jefferson design remained untouched, reflecting a respect for tradition and a desire to maintain the historical connection collectors and everyday citizens had grown accustomed to. The United States in 2001 was also in the middle of a bustling economy, one in which physical currency still played a major role. Cash transactions were common. Vending machines, parking meters, and public transportation systems still depended heavily on coins like the nickel. Although digital payment systems were beginning to rise, the nickel maintained its importance as a key piece of circulating money. This ensured that production numbers continued at high levels, allowing the 2001 issue to reach millions of pockets and cash registers across the country. Collectors often view the 2001 Jefferson nickel as part of an era when the design was nearing its end, but still maintaining its classic charm. The late 1990s and early 2000s were years in which the numismatic community began paying closer attention to modern issues, especially those with strong strikes and high-quality details. The concept of full steps became increasingly important as collectors realized the rarity of sharply defined steps on Monticello. This made certain 2001 coins, especially those from high-quality dies, sought after for collections focused on precision and detail. Another important theme of the 2001 nickel is the way it reflects American identity at a turning point. The early years of the new millennium brought an atmosphere of change, uncertainty, and transition. The nation would soon face one of the most defining moments in modern history, with the events of September 11, 2001, and this marked a shift in American culture values and priorities. While coins cannot portray such events directly, they become silent witnesses to the eras in which they circulate. The 2001 Jefferson nickel therefore carries a deeper emotional meaning for many who see it as one of the last coins minted before a momentous national turning point. The materials and composition of the 2001 Jefferson nickel also continued a tradition set during World War II. After the wartime alloy years had ended in 1946, the mint returned to the classic 75% copper and 25% nickel mixture used for decades. This composition provided durability, strength, and a familiar appearance, making the nickel one of the most resilient circulating coins in the United States. The 2001 issue followed this same formula, ensuring consistency for collectors and everyday users alike. Mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver were responsible for the bulk of 2001 nickel, production resulting in millions of coins entering circulation. The P&D mint marks signify the geographic origin of each coin, with Philadelphia often associated with higher mintages and Denver known for strong, well-struck examples. Each mint contributed to the nationwide distribution of the coin, ensuring that Americans in all regions encountered the familiar Jefferson portrait throughout the year. As numismatics continued to expand online in the early 2000s, collectors gained new ways to study and compare their 2001 Jefferson Nickels. Digital forums, auction platforms, and coin grading companies made it easier than ever to track the value, interest, and rarity of certain varieties. This marked a new phase in the hobby, and the 2001 nickel became part of this transition as collectors sought high-grade examples and potential die variations that could add historical depth to their collections.